a whole lot to do with, but it's an important one to our caucus, and that would be the package of expungement bills that's currently working its way through the Senate. Now, you testified during the House of Representatives portion of the bill passage to an extent that you'd like to have some changes made to the bill. Specifically, it definitely doesn't include manufacturing and distribution or delivery and transfer on the list of items that would be expunged. Now that it's in the Senate itself and poised to have one final vote before Senate approval is achieved, what is the ability to make an alteration to that bill, or what can the Attorney General's office do to try and make a positive change to that bill so that it more accurately reflects the purpose?
Okay. Well, I'm going to make a few comments on this, and then I'm going to let David Kanesic handle the rest of that since he's the expert on that. But I will say that when I first saw the package of bills, it was very important to me that marijuana be treated completely separately than any other criminal offense, because with these other criminal offenses, we're saying, well, this individual should have an opportunity to have these matters set aside, removed from their record because it's been a sufficient period of time and we want to settle them for the rest of their lives with a record. The difference with cannabis, of course, is that this is something that now, under many different sets of circumstances, you would never be convicted of at all. It's just not a crime anymore. So I thought we should treat it completely separately from a larceny or receiving and concealing or many other kinds of things that are still crimes, even if we think that there should be a greater opportunity to expunge those crimes. So our office actually drafted a completely different bill that we then gave to the legislature. It allowed for basically automatic expungements, not just of misdemeanor, possession and use cases, but also of a variety of different felony types of infractions involving manufacture, delivery, distribution, possession with intent to deliver marijuana. And we also changed it significantly. So instead of the burden being on the petitioner to say why they deserve to have their conviction removed, the burden would be on the prosecutor to say why that petitioner did not deserve to have their conviction removed. And we put timelines in to say that if a prosecutor has not filed a formal objection within 60 days, then the court just automatically has to go ahead and expunge that particular offense. And if I'm misstating this, David, you'll let me know, but that's my memory of it. I testified, I don't know, I think a year ago or so on this. And, I tried to convince them that it was important that these matters be treated differently to allow for more expungements in this arena, although understanding that the bill, even as it stands, or the various bills, still allow for more felonies to be expunged than previously. However, the House did not accept my proposal as it pertained to felony marijuana convictions. They did accept my suggestions as it pertained to misdemeanor convictions. And David, do you want to follow up?
No, I would just add, Rick, and you touched on this a little bit, just from, I think, a timeline perspective and then the role that our office has played in this conversation. As you noted, these bills have come out of the Senate committee. They're now sitting on the Senate floor. We have a legislature that's going back into session next week for the entire month of September before they go back on recess again ahead of the November election, right? First and foremost, I think we have to point out the fact that we have never had an attorney general's office or an attorney general who has taken such a progressive stance on this issue. And so when we had the legislature express their interest in wanting to not just talk about expungements, but to also be receptive to the idea of cannabis or marijuana expungements, the attorney general was all in from day one and made sure that all of us were all in on this issue from day one as well. So from the beginning, she touched on this already, we were pushing the legislature to go farther than what they finally adopted in the House and out of Senate committee as it relates to these expungements. We're still pushing for the adoption of some other felonies to be included in this expungement package. But as you know, that's an uphill battle with this legislature, and making sure that we were treating this separately from the other expungements that are being talked about in the package, I think is really important, making sure that there's this rebuttable presumption present that, if you were convicted of this after or before a certain date, it would have been legal if you would have convicted or been convicted of that after 2018. And so what I think that we have moving forward is a really great opportunity to move the ball down the field. I don't think anybody on this call would tell you that we think it's the be-all, end-all solution, but we certainly think it's a step in the right direction. And with the window closing here at the end of the year, I know that we want to have these bills passed and pushed as far as we can, just so that we can have these adopted into law and to begin the expungement process for folks that should not have these convictions on their records.
Well, Attorney General, I can tell you I've made a lot of suggestions to the House of Representatives that they haven't taken either. So you're not alone in that respect, I can promise. Thank you very much for your answer. Previously on our prior call, we talked about having expungement be explained in a single video or a series of videos directed from your office, because expungement right now is not uniformly applied across the state and it's not uniformly understood. And with a brand new law that is so encompassing, there are many different crimes that would be applicable for expungement. Now, that direction should come from your office. Have you given that more consideration? Is that something that you have on your mind?
Yeah, well, that was the suggestion from the Cannabis Caucus, and I think it's a great idea. I did say I absolutely wanted to wait until we saw what the result of the bills are, because, I mean, there's no point in making a video about whatever the current state of the law is now to only have that change in a month or two, or hope that it changes, right? I have every expectation it's going to change one way or the other. We just don't know what it's going to be yet. But once that happens, absolutely, I think it's a good idea that we put something together. I want to have something right on my website where you can click on it and say, find out how to apply for, and here's an application to set aside a conviction. Here's how to apply. Here's how you need to do that. Now, I will say the package of bills as it stands now is fairly complex. I mean, honestly, there are parts of it that are hard. So I think what our office should be doing is trying to figure out what is the best, easiest way to explain this, understanding it's hard to give what is honestly legal advice to people via our website, but we can try our hardest to say, here's what the law calls for. You can have X number of misdemeanors. You can have X number of felonies. If this, then this. If this, then this. And we can try our hardest to put something together to simplify it the best way possible, because we want to make sure that people can do this on their own. To me, if you are a well-off person, if you have a lot of resources, a lot of finances, I guess you're going to be just fine. But what we don't want to see happen is people who are the most needy of an expungement, because maybe they can't, find employment because of their criminal convictions. They don't have the money to go out and hire an expensive attorney in order to, take them through this process. We want everyone to be able to do this on their own without hiring a lawyer. And so I'm committed to doing everything I can to make that happen. I'd also, if we ever get past COVID, which, knock on wood, will be sooner rather than later, I'm committed to having, expungement fairs where we, have presenters and sit there and we can have the forms ready for people and we go through it and assist them in that way. But, absolutely, will I put together a video? Will I put together some materials online? I am committed to doing that, 100%.
Fantastic.